Welcome to Hennett Minutes. I'm Greg Hennett. Today's topic is God walkers. The word walk is used in the Bible often to symbolize a lifestyle. For instance, John the Baptist saw Jesus walking by the Jordan River, and he said, "Behold, the Lamb of God that takes away the sin of the world." Who are God walkers? Well, they're simply people who learned how to walk with God. They learned the spiritual disciplines of the true life of faith. Or they lived closely to God their whole lives, every day, all day long, and night. Let me give you 10 examples of God walkers. First of all, there was Adam and Eve. They walked with God in the cool of the garden in the beginning. God had made Adam and Eve to walk with him, and he no doubt enjoyed their sweet fellowship. And then there was Enoch. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, because God took him. So God translated Enoch to heaven, took him alive from earth to heaven because he walked with him so closely. Then there was Noah. Noah found grace in the sight of the Lord, and Noah walked with God. So God delivered him and his household through the terrible flood. Then there was Abraham. In Genesis 15, the Lord said to Abraham, "Walk before me and be thou perfect." Abraham responded and became God's close friend. Then there was Moses. We know Moses walked with God. He too was a friend of God. He was in constant communication with God for himself and for the whole nation of Israel. Then there was David. It's obvious that David walked with God because he expresses that lifestyle repeatedly in his Psalms. King Jehoshaphat, he walked in the first ways of his father David, and for this God blessed him and his kingdom greatly. What were those first ways of his father David? They were the ways of God that David walked in before he sinned with Bathsheba. Then there were the three Hebrew boys, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. With Daniel, they together, these faithful four, as I call them, walked with God in many scenarios before Daniel chapter 3. Then Nebuchadnezzar threw them into his fiery furnace to obviously incinerate them, but there, suddenly they were seen walking with God, no doubt Jesus. Then there were the 12 disciples. The 12 disciples walked closely with Jesus, God incarnate, for 3 years by the Galilee, on the mountains, out in the fields, by the highways, in the synagogues, in the marketplaces, in the Decapolis. Wherever Jesus went, they were there walking closely with him. My goodness, how amazing that must have been. Then there was Paul. Paul, we know, walked closely with God in many scenarios, both of ministry and in all kinds of adversity. And then he taught us in Galatians 5:16, he taught us, "Walk in the Spirit, and you will not fulfill the lust of the flesh." Now, why is this important? Because we need to be a God walker. Only those who walk closely with God were delivered from the first worldwide judgment by the waters of the flood. Who were they? Well, simply Enoch and Noah. Another flood of judgments is coming, not of water, but the seal, trumpet, and bowl judgments of Revelation chapter 6 through 19. Read that, particularly in a modern language Bible, and you will be amazed at what happens during that time. Well, who will God deliver from that time, and also who will he take through that time and keep them? Well, clearly, those who walk with God. Many today are walking with God. Many remnant Christians are learning the lifestyle of those who have walked closely with God, those spiritual disciplines. And today, Jesus is calling many more to learn that lifestyle. He said, "Come to me and take my yoke upon you." And if we get into the yoke with Jesus, we are walking very closely with him and working very closely with him every day. Do you know that lifestyle? If you don't, I have a suggestion. One of my books here is called Walking in His Ways, and it teaches the spiritual disciplines of the life of a true disciple, how to walk closely with Jesus today, just as the 12 did 2,000 years ago. It's available online, obviously, and it's also available at our website if you feel like you wish to purchase a copy for yourself or a friend. Now, but whether you buy the book or not, let me say to you today, be a God walker.